When selling your house, should you do paint and carpets? Hey everyone, Dean Willett, the channel specialist at the PhoenixRealEstateGuy.com website. And today we're gonna tackle the most common question from home sellers. Should I do paint and carpet before I sell my house? There are two myths I want to address. The first myth comes from agents who say, no, let the new home buyer pick what they want in the house and let them make it their home with their decisions. Just price the house $3,500 less, which will cover the cost of doing it. That is a myth, and a bad one at that. I've probably shown over 3,000 houses in the last decade. Sure, half those were to that one couple who wanted to see every house in Chandler and Gilbert before they finally made the decision, but let's not go there. I've seen over and over again the reaction of home buyers when they walk into a house. Besides for curb appeal, carpet and paint are often the first two things that people notice in a house. So if your carpet's worn and your paint is aged, that's their first impression of the house. And the first thing they think of is, how much more work does this house need? Most home buyers cannot see past the work that needs to be done in the house. Even for those who think they want to do the work, when the option is between a house that is move-in ready and an option that they need to do work to, they're almost always going to choose the one and be willing to pay a little bit more for the house that's move-in ready. The other thing the buyers are going to see is money. So let's say you have a 2,000 square foot house and about half of it is carpet, and you need to do the carpet and paint the whole house. You can go to Home Depot, get very basic padding, neutral, basic carpet, and have your house professionally painted on the inside. It's only gonna cost you what, about $3,500. A good rule of thumb is the buyer is gonna double that price in their mind. They see the money they need to spend and automatically assume it's gonna be more than it actually is. Plus they factor into their mind the time, the labor, the hassle getting it all done. And before you know it, that $3,500 job becomes a $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 job in their mind. And first impression is everything. I had a client who was relocating from Michigan, and they were coming down for a weekend to look at houses. They said that they were absolutely fine with houses that needed work. So I included a lot of those in the listings that I pulled. I pulled up something close to 25 listings to show them that weekend over 2 days. Day one, we looked at something close to a dozen houses, and they were very critical of those houses. They've given me a narrow price range to look at, and I pulled up a bunch of houses in that price range, and I actually pulled more that needed work than not. And the reason was because they were getting more house for their money. But after that first day, I saw what they were really looking for. They were telling me that they were okay with houses that needed work, but the reaction from the houses that needed carpet, needed paint, and small repairs, it wasn't nearly as good as those that were move-in ready. The next day, I revised my list. We looked at almost nothing but move-in ready houses, and they found something that they wanted and were happier with it. It's just more evidence that people want move-in ready houses. The second myth is from skeptical people who say, of course a real estate agent wants you to do work to the house. They want to sell it for more money because they make a higher commission. And I get why people would be skeptical about that. But let's just look at the numbers real quick. Let's assume worst case scenario, and you just have an agent who's looking to put every dollar they can inside their pocket. Let's assume worst case scenario. You have an agent whose only care is to put a few $100s more in his pocket. So your agent says, put in paint, put in carpet, and we can sell this house for $10,000 more than if you don't. So to just pick a round number, they're gonna make somewhere around $300 more if you do the paint and the carpet. That's pretty good for the agent, an extra $300. We all like an extra $300, right? Now, you spend $3,500 on the upgrades so your agent can make an extra $300. But you're gonna sell the house for $10,000 more than if you hadn't done the upgrades. So the question is it worth an extra $6,000 in your pocket to do $3,500 of upgrades? So yes, that greedy agent who's out for an extra $300 is helping you by more than 20-fold. Now, just to be clear, when I say you're gonna get an extra $10,000 for doing carpet and paint, $10,000 is a rough estimate number that we're using. Kind of depends on the house and it depends on the situation. It's not a guarantee. So then the question becomes, what about nicer floors? Should I spend more money and put in nice tile or wood? I would say it depends on the house, it depends on the neighborhood, it depends on the price point. Talk to your agent. But for the vast majority of houses that I see, new paint and inexpensive carpet is gonna go a long ways and get you a much better return. If you got any thoughts or questions on this, I'd love to hear from you. And until my next walk, we'll talk to you later. Assume worst case scenario, there's a bug just landed on my camera. I wish I could show it to you. All right, Sorry, bug got me distracted. So less the case. Now I can't get going again.